Jeff, are you out there?
Oh, yes, sir. Sure am.
Okay. I didn't see you on the screen, so.
Oh, okay. And I should be, so I can see myself. If I'm not seen by anybody else, I'm not sure just what's up.
Hi, I just showed up. I don't know if you
Ah,
see
there
me.
you are.
Oh.
You just popped up. Okay, it's 1 minute after 3. We'll get started. Barbara Wall is here with us. We
Here.
know Robert Poole won't be joining us. Eric Morset. Betty Buck.
Here.
Okay. So we've got 3 people. We've got a quorum. An open meeting. I'd like approval of the July 21, 2022 meeting minutes. Need a motion, please.
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, Barbara. Betty, now you have a second. I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, Executive Director's Report. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First thing, I'm going to change the signature block on these minutes since you were presiding and Commissioner Poole wasn't here for this. I'm going to change the signature to your name and we'll get you a copy to sign.
I will be glad to.
Indicating approval. Okay, thank you. For just kind of go over first the enforcement activity for the past month since we've last met. We had 10 incidents of alcohol and tobacco violations, and in each one individual was charged, so a total of 10 people charged. And the statistics for the seizures are other tobacco products. There were 9,541 unstamped packs of cigarettes. When we say unstamped, we mean untaxed. Could be another state's stamp on it. That doesn't matter. So untaxed. It was 85 packs of cigarettes, containers of distilled spirits, 74 for our alcohol cases, containers of beers, 31. There was no wine. The jurisdictions that we took these actions in were Baltimore County, Queen Anne's County, Anne Arundel County, Prince George's County, Howard County, and Baltimore City. I'll just quickly go over our license renewals, and I really want everybody to get a sense of what it is 3 people do all the time for us. It's pretty amazing. The fiscal year, well, not so much the fiscal year, but the license renewal year for last year ended on April 30th, and the new year began May 1st. For that whole fiscal, but for that whole fiscal year, there were almost 3,000 licenses, 2,959 brand new licenses that hadn't been issued before. During that renewal period that took effect on May 1st, there were 548 licenses renewed. 80 licenses were not, and that could be for any number of reasons. It could be the companies went out of business. It could be that there's some obligation or debt or some other hold that was put on them, and we're investigating those. In those cases of the 80, we will work to find out if they're simply out of business. We'll remove them from our books. If they are in business or trying to be in business, we'll help them become compliant. We may actually have to help them by telling them they can't operate because essentially they're operating without a license if they're doing anything at all right now. But we'll look into those separately. July 1st was the new date for our direct wine shippers renewal. We renewed 1,101 direct wine shipper permits. There were an additional 108 that did not renew. Again, that could be for any number of reasons. They're a little bit more difficult to track down because almost all of those are out-of-state wineries and largely in California. So it's really difficult to explain why they didn't renew, and sometimes it's just an oversight. And effective November 1st, we will be renewing or throughout that period of time, all of our general permits. And we expect that's going to be somewhere around 5,340 permits that will renew by November 1st. And at the same time, we'll be issuing 37,500 vehicle identification cards, which means essentially every vehicle that's approved to transport alcohol has to have a vehicle identification card to make deliveries. As Commissioner Buck would tell you, she's probably had to turn some people away because they didn't have them. They check to make sure that before they receive any deliveries, these cards are in each cab. They are specifically assigned to each delivery vehicle, and it's a lot of them. And that's probably one of the busiest things we do all year round, because today people don't buy their permits in advance all the time because they're kind of brokerages instead of trucking firms. And they come into the state without a permit, and they go to one of our wholesalers who says, sorry, no can do, and sends them to the right place to get permitted. But we expect to get about 37,500 just by November. We will be very shortly putting out a couple of additional advisories to the industry, but one of them I just wanted to bring to your attention because there's a lot of talk about it right now, and you may hear some issues or some complaints in your travels. Specifically, it deals with delivery charges. The expenses that our wholesalers have incurred relative to just delivery generally, which are human expenses, fuel expenses, product expenses, has gone up rather dramatically. And some of them are introduced, I would say, are mild to moderate delivery fees. And there's a lot of questions about how they can do them. We've gotten a lot about what appropriate manners they should be put into, or what would suffice our criteria. So we're putting out an advisory very shortly that will give some direction to our wholesalers that if you're going to do it, this is what we think is a fair, equitable way, and one that's defensible. Just very quickly, our update on COMAR. Many of you know that Tom Akris and Jeff Hand have been working on changing a COMAR regs from the comptroller to the Alcohol Tobacco Commission. That has been largely completed. It was sent to an organization, the state government, that is required to conduct a review of it. One, to make sure that it's accurate and correct in what it's authorizing, and also to make sure it's in the proper format. It's nearly completed that review. After that, it will be submitted, which very soon it will be submitted to the Division of State Documents. They will do one more format review and then submit it for publication. When that happens, and that could be September, it could be October. When that happens, it's about another 60 to 90 days before the whole process is complete. So we're probably looking more realistically at December or January before they're published in finalized form, but they're well underway. In the meantime, I'm hoping in the fall that we can have some kind of a forum where we can invite our industry partners, public who's interested, retailers who may be interested, in having a forum to discuss some of the trade practice portions, which are probably the most vital part of the COMAR, of the regulations that we have. There's a lot of desire to modernize or flat out just change things. And at least we need to give audience to that, if nothing else. And we can make some decisions if we want to do it at that point. But I hope to do that within the next couple of months, and you'll get plenty of notice for that. From Dana. Now, Dana Moncrief couldn't be here today, but she asked me to pass on that for retailers. And typically these are geared toward tobacco retailers. But in this case, since you've got to be 21 for all these products, alcohol and tobacco, it really works for everybody. And I'm asking that that Andrew or Danny please put this in the chat, a link and an email address to be able to acquire these age verification calendars. They're just very helpful tools. The idea is very simple, but it's very effective. The calendar changes each day, and it says if you weren't born on this day, this year, don't try it. You can't buy it. It's just a good reminder. It helps the clerks who are making sales very quickly identify or verify ages. And it lets the potential purchaser know that we're checking. So these are available for free, and we'll have that information up in the chat room very soon. There'll be, as I said, it's either an email or it'll be a link to the location. So, Mr. Chairman, that is my report for the month.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any new business to discuss?
I just want to let everybody know, it's not really a big deal, but it sort of kind of is to me. I am going at the end of the month down to Nashville. There is a Center for Alcohol Policy that once a year does an annual alcohol law and policy conference. And I actually started it when I was in charge of the National Beer Wholesalers. So for the first time in my life, I'm going as a regulator instead of a beer distributor, which will feel rather odd, but I just wanted to go and hear what they have to say. They're doing a lot of topics about alcohol regulation, what's changed, what hasn't changed, what's going on, some of the new rules and regulations across the country. So I thought it would be interesting.
We look forward to talking with you and finding out what new things you've learned.
Mm-hmm.
And
Since I'm
welcome
going in
to
a black
this
hat
side.
instead of the white hat.
I'd say we look at it the other way.
I'm
Is that
still
Pam Erickson's
learning,
group?
Jeff, I'm still learning.
It's okay. It's an acquired taste for sure. Is that Pam Erickson's group?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she's
it's
terrific. She was a
National
regulator in
Drug
Oregon.
Retailers. And
Great.
it's an offshoot that they did. And when I started it, it was to work with everybody, including groups like church groups, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, to get everybody to actually sit in one room and see each other's sides. And how could we work together for the better of the community?
It's a good group. And they put out a monthly I think it's a monthly publication that just helps you catch up. If people are interested, that we'll try and figure out how we can sign you up for that if you're interested.
Yeah. Well, I
Right.
always get it, so I can pass it along.
That'd
Perfect.
be great.
hmm
Any other new business?
This was probably old business, Mr. Chair, but this is relative to that University of Maryland study about I've just let you know, I've reached out to University of Maryland and to some other people who are interested, again, saying we're very interested in working with them. If this fermentation science curriculum is something they want to proceed with, and we're very interested in that use specifically. As a commissioner, interested in working with them, and I haven't heard back from them yet, but we'll keep after them. If they want to do it, time's flying by rather quickly,
Right.
because in the next couple of months, it's going to be too late to do anything this year.
Sounds good. All right, if there isn't any other business, I'd ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Commissioner Buck moved. I need a second.
I'll
Commissioner
second.
Boyd, is that a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all very much for your time. And Mr. Kelly, thank you very much for what you and the department are doing.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.